Always turn on do not before I go live. So, good morning. I'm just waiting to go into the office. My manager called me into the office, and it sounds kind of bad. Doesn't sound good. Said there was like an extreme event that happened. So, yeah, I guess we'll go live, you know, until I find out, like, you know, what they're going to do. It didn't sound good. Like, he called me, and it's like I'm on reset. And he said he just really needed to see me, you know. So I guess we could talk about why regional is better than over the road trucking. Um, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't really know what it was about, you know. But anyways, while I'm waiting here, I don't know if they're gonna can me or not. I don't know. I mean, he just literally called me and told me to come up, that he really needed to talk to me. So I'm just playing. This is all bullshit. It's orientation day for this regional account that I'm going on. I just came from a regional account. I'm switching account to account, and there's nothing going on. I'm not in trouble. I'm not getting fired or nothing. I was just fucking with you guys. And I just cussed, so I ruined the monetization on this live stream. So, um, regional trucking has been most of what I've ran so far in truck driving. I did a little bit of OTR when I started CR England and at night transportation, when I was like going from like to the East Coast, down South, Midwest, like West Coast, like everywhere, right? So for those of you who are watching this, because I'm making this for the replay, who don't know about truck driving, when you go into trucking, there's a few different things that you could do in trucking. When you're new, you're most likely going to run OTR because no one wants to hire you because you're new. And it's hard enough for truck drivers who have years in to get like really good high jobs right now because the trucking job market is just really competitive. So a lot of us end up having to settle for these big mega carrier companies or over the road companies, big or small. Because over the road companies, those are always hiring. A lot of people don't want to run over the road freight, right? A lot of people, they get into trucking, and the thing that people say is, I'll go over the road for like 6 months to a year, 2 years tops. And then once I have my experience, I'll come back home and I'll get a local job. And then they find out that that doesn't really work all of the time, especially in like certain markets are better than others, as far as like local job opportunities. The reason why that doesn't work going local really for most people, I'm talking about like you could go local, but I'm talking about guys want to go local and they want to make hardcore over the road trucking money in a local job. And for the most part, that doesn't happen for most people. Most people don't get onto the union jobs or to even some of the specialized freight local jobs because everyone has that idea. Everyone comes into trucking and they want to go local eventually, right? I mean, who really wants to live in a truck? I know this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to live in a truck, but I understand that most people don't want to live in a truck. So there's this other thing that you could do that's like half-ass OTR. It's called regional. So OTR is when you drive all 48 states of the United States. And if you have a passport, you could even go into Canada, right? I never heard about U.S. drivers really going into Mexico. I'd imagine that would be kind of dangerous to do that. But regional is something that I've done pretty much. And the regional jobs that I've held have really been local, just within the state of California, and occasionally we'll go over next door, or like we'll cover Nevada. So because we cover right next door, and it's probably something simple as like the account that I was just on, we ran into Reno over Donner into Reno, so that's regional, right? Or when I was in Bakersfield working for CR England, we ran from Bakersfield over to Hatchabee through the desert into Las Vegas, so that's regional. You know what I mean? Um, when I was at night transportation, that was just straight up OTR. I was running the Western region, but I didn't sign up for OTR. Night Transportation is really like an OTR company. Like the OTR is their bread and butter, you know? But the reason why I say regional is better than OTR is for these few reasons right here, you know? When you're over the road, it's hard to keep up with your health like that. It's hard to really live a balanced life like that, you know? Um, it could work, but you're really going to have to coordinate and make things clear with your dispatcher that, you know, dispatcher, I'll stay out here. And, you know, the reason why people go over the road is mainly for the money. People mainly want to, you know, sell off all their possessions. And it's kind of like van life, right? I should have parked somewhere else to do this stream, but I think there's people down there. But oh well, we're right here. So the reason why people want to go over the road is because they want to live in their truck and stack all this money and run hard and just make all this money. And the problem with that is, you know, you're really choosing wealth over health. Unless if you would have to make it clear with your dispatcher, like, look, dispatcher, every like once a week, I'm gonna have to go grocery shopping. And a lot of people say that you could just go to Walmart and go grocery shopping. Well, that's not always the case. Not every Walmart or every grocery store has truck parking. Some of them are real stingy and real Karen-like with the truck drivers that want to go grocery shopping there, okay? For example, if you go to like Safeway or something, like any grocery store where there's like security and they're really patrolling the parking lot, like you could park your truck and security could roll up on you and say, oh, you're not allowed to park here. We don't allow trucks on our parking lot other than our deliveries, right? Which is most likely going to be, whether it's like an owner operator delivering freight, or it's most likely going to be their own private fleet, or like a day cab local job delivering the freight and then leaving. If you try to park at a grocery store as an over the road truck driver, you could get booted out, right? Especially in bigger cities like, shit, I don't know, places like in LA or in the Bay Area or in the Central Valley or like Dallas, Texas, somewhere where it's like really popping and you're in a big city. I would imagine they'd be more lenient in somewhere like small town Oklahoma or something. Those small little conservative communities are probably a lot more friendly to truck drivers. But then again, you never know. You know, if it's like some suburban soccer mom town that you're in, you know, America gets really Karen with truck drivers, right? They get really picky, and a lot of, you know, places treat truck drivers really fucked up, right? A lot of places don't want you parking in their parking lots, don't want you doing a 10-hour sleep. Like, even if you're in the back of their property away from everyone, you know what I mean? And you make it an effort to just be in the back, right? You could pull into a grocery store, bounce out, go grocery shopping, and come out to a boot on your truck. And now you have to talk to security, and it turns into like this big ass thing. And the manager comes out, and they bitch at you about parking there, and you just wanted to go grocery shopping. I know that doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen, okay? And the reason why I say regional is better, because regional, the way that original, like regional truck driving goes, like real regional, like the shit that I do is local, right? But we go out of state to like one state up to like Nevada or Oregon or occasionally Washington. So that's regional, right? If you're going into Washington, I guess that is regional. But, you know, if you're in Stockton and you're running up to Portland and back, I mean, you do that in 2 days. So to me, that's like a local run right there. You know what I mean? But real regional, it's like you're from California and you run the Western 11 states and you stay out 2 weeks, right? You go to work, and the first week you stay out, then the second week you come home. So you're home every 2 weeks. You're home twice a month for a 34-hour reset. And on those accounts, you're running pretty hard. You're getting the same amount of miles for the most part that someone would get on over-the-road freight. But the reason why it's better is because you come home every 2 weeks, right? You're not out there 100% just living in your truck all year long. Well, you can be living in your truck all year long, but since you come home every 2 weeks, you could stock up on groceries. all right? It's really important that you keep up with your health out here as a truck driver. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be eating good, clean food out here. But local, I mean, since I've gone local, my situation has just been fucked up, dude. Local has not been working for me. You know what I mean? So this is why I'm going back to live in a truck myself. I'm going back to regional trucking. And I thought this was going to be like some hardcore miles, you know? But I talked to the manager and he's like, oh, this is like a chill account. I'm like, oh, you know? This company right here, JB, they got some hardcore OTR accounts. But right here around where I live, the accounts that are around where I'm at, they're real local. You know what I mean? Like, they're local, just chill little jobs. On this account, I'm going to be getting like 100 something more miles, maybe every week. The freight seems like it's going to be more consistent here, but oh yeah, that's another thing. Having weekends off too. Yeah, I'm going to have my weekends off here. I'm going to have Saturday night and Sunday off, right? Instead of having my reset in the middle of the week. So I don't know. I mean, I prefer having weekdays off because when you have the weekends off, now you're in the shit with everyone else. You're in the crowds, you know, and I don't like crowds, right? I don't mind staying away from the crowd, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the main reason why regional is a lot better, because on regional, you know, you could take care of yourself a lot better, right? Even with just doing shit like taking care of your mail. If you're out there OTR all year long, you know what happens in the home address where you're collecting your mail fucking piles up. And then you come home and you have just this mountain of, most of it's trash, right? Dude, I can't stand the mail system, dude. It's like most of it's trash and you got to go through it because there's some real important shit that'll come in from like the IRS, from the state of Cal, or whatever state you're living in, right? From your insurance company, for your healthcare, or just whatever, you know what I mean? Your benefits from your job, right? But so you got to weed through all your mail, and the rest of it, you just throw it away. When you're over the road, your mail can get out of control, right? Unless if you, I don't know, got a parent or a sibling going through your mail, right? Which I don't know if people want, if you guys want someone going through your personal mail like that. That's something else that you don't think about. Guys want to go live like van life. They want to go be a truck driver and live this trucking life. They want to go live these alternative lifestyles and make all this money. But shit still happens. Like, you're still getting mail. If you have a social security card, if you're alive, right, and there's no death certificate on your ass, you know, you're gonna get a hella mail at the house, right? And then another thing is like going with the mail. If you want to order stuff on Amazon, you know what I mean? You come home every 2 weeks. You can pick up your Amazon packages, right? I mean, when the winter comes, you should be stocking up on stuff for the winter, right? Like spider bungees or just bungees, extra bungees, and just little gadgets, you know, like maybe an extra flashlight, some extra like little tools or whatever, right? Just to gear up for the winter, for when you have to chain up, or just whatever, right? You need to order shit. You're alive, you're gonna order shit. And when you're OTR and you're out there all the time, you don't know when you're gonna shut down. OTR, you're just out there cruising. You're just out there traveling the United States, and it's fun, right? Like, you know, another reason why people got, like, so I said, you know, people go OTR because they want to make the money, and a lot of people just want to see the country, right? They want to see the country and get paid to do it. They want to live out of their truck, and, you know, maybe they're introverts. They don't mind being alone. They don't mind just like not being in one place. They want to constantly just go do their own thing, and I get it, right? But in my opinion, dude, staying out there in OTR, people say that they don't, but more often than not, they do live off of truck stop food, live off of fast food, right? And when you're regional, you could go grocery shopping every 2 weeks and get a really big grocery haul for your truck and just be stocked up in your truck, right? What's up with everybody that just came into the stream? So in my opinion, it's a lot better, right? Living in the truck is pretty good in general, whether you're doing over the road or regional. I mean, even, the good thing about regional, again, is because you're coming home every 2 weeks, you could still be like kind of living in one spot, like kind of living out of your home terminal or wherever your account is. You got your car parked there, and every 2 weeks you could be sure that you're going to go to the gym, that you're probably going to go see your old lady, that you're going to go see your friends and family. You could live a more balanced life, right? It's still not all the way balanced because you're at work most of the time, but compared to someone who's on over the road, you could live a way more balanced life than someone who hasn't seen their friends and family in like 3 or sometimes 6 months because they're just living out of the truck doing over the road freight, right? And when you go to these OTR companies, they have an incentive to keep you out. The way that their trucking company is structured is to keep you out, is to keep you running that freight, to keep you running that truck, right? These trucking companies, they really take a hit on their business when you go home and do home time. That's why it's such a big deal, to the point where they call it home time. But regional accounts, regional trucking companies, right? I mean, this is one reason why I do kind of like working with mega carriers, is because within a mega carrier like JB Hunt, where I'm at right now, or even CR England or Night Transportation, you do have more options. You could find these regional jobs within your company, and maybe you have to relocate if there's like a better schedule out in Texas, right? And they have better runs and you like the area where they're running better, so you might have to relocate. But once you're there, like I'm saying, dude, you could live a more balanced life and still live out of the truck. So on regional, you could really have like the best of both worlds, right? Your regional, you could still live out of the truck, not pay any bills, pocket all your money, but be in like one set location, right? And then when you're regional, you're most likely like delivering to the same customers. When you're OTR, yeah, you'll probably go to the same few customers too, but a lot of the times you're going to random ass spots. You know what I mean? Like if you're hardcore OTR, you could be bouncing between, like if you're hardcore OTR at like CR England or Night Transportation, you could be running dry van freight and reefer freight on the same account. So then you're really going to different spots all the time. And these different spots are going to have you waiting at the dock longer. They're going to have like just more strict rules about when you're on their property, right? Dude, like some of these receivers, some of these shippers and receivers, they don't even want you getting out of your truck when you're backed into the dock or when you're waiting to get into the dock, right? If they even allow you to wait on their property, some of them might just say, oh, go park on the street. When you go out on the street and there's all these no parking signs on the street, and that's where they tell you to go park, and then like a cop comes up and tries to give you a ticket. It's rough out there on OTR. Not all the time, I'm being extreme, but you do catch yourself in those situations on OTR. And if you're regional, even if you got like some real fucked up customers that you're delivering to like that, you kind of know what to expect, right? It's like every twice a month or once every 2 months, you get that load and you're like, oh, these motherfuckers are here. I'm going over here. Okay, so now at least you're mentally prepared for it. You know what you're going to be dealing with on the pickup, or whether it's a live unload, drop and hook. If it's a drop and hook, you can just get in and get out of there. But if it's a live unload, like, okay, I'm going to go deal with some bullshit for a little bit. You know what I mean? But eventually I'm going to get out of there, right? Because it's regional. You pretty much run the same few customers throughout like your set states. And like I said, a lot of the times on regional, it's local work. So you really have it better than even some other regional drivers that are running like hardcore regional freight, right? Like, dude, a lot of the accounts I've been running into on regional are just local. Like they run out of state, but it's just to the next state. It's like Bakersfield to Las Vegas, right? It's like Tracy, Stockton to Reno and back. That, dude, like you can't really do Bakersfield to Vegas. Well, no, some guys did do that. It depends how many stops you got. You know, if you're running from Bakersfield or Shafter to Vegas, if you're going to Vegas and you're doing just a drop and hook and you smash back without really stopping like that, other than your 30-minute break, and your 30-minute break on a run like that to make it back the same night, you're gonna have to go from Bakersfield to Vegas. And when you're doing your drop and hook, you're gonna have to go on duty and use creep mode, no more than 4 miles an hour, right? And then let that 30-minute break go on when you're doing your drop and hook, and then you get out. And to use the bathroom, you're just stopping at a rest area. I don't know if I could really bust that out faithfully, like on a dedicated run like that all year long, 6 days a week. I would get burnt out of running that hard. You know what I mean? But for the most part, like you would go, like when I was in uh, Bakersfield, Shafter with CR England, we'd hook up to the load and we'd go to Vegas and shut down. And the next day we'd do our deliveries around town, because it'd most likely be a frozen load where we'd have a few different deliveries in like 4 or 5 different stores all over Las Vegas. Go get the trailer unloaded at all these stores all day and then drive back. And it's chill. It was low key. You know what I mean? And, you know, the money on regional, it's a little less than OTR, but I mean, the thing about, you know, people ask how much money truck drivers make, and I can't give you a simple answer for that because every account is different. The freight on the account is different. The customer that you're working for, that you're hauling the freight for, is different on every account, right? So like a Costco account is going to pay a lot different than a Walmart account, or somewhere in the same ballpark, but it's going to vary, right? It's going to vary, especially when you're dealing with shit like you go pick up your load and there's some damage on the truck, you know, there's like the mud flap dragging on the ground, or there's something wrong with the landing gear, or there's something wrong with the reefer, it has a code on it, or it's overweight on the tandems. That happens a lot, especially in refrigerated freight. The tandem axle, or even on dry van, whenever you're doing shit with like food or like dry freight to places like Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, I don't know, dude, a lot of these shippers and receivers, they like to really put all the weight at the end of the trailer near the tandems. They like to really stack up the dog food, the mulch, the gardening dirt, right? The cat food, the kitty litter, all at the back of the trailer rather than spreading it out even. That's just what they do. And then you go get on the scale and it's like, oh, 36,000 on the tandems. Okay. And you're in California. So even sliding your fifth wheel that overweight, it's not really going to do nothing. You can only move like what, probably like one hole over. It's not going to do nothing. You can't work and your load gets canceled, right? And that can really fuck off your whole week. But then you can have a good week when everything's going good, right? All the equipment's good, all the weights are good on all the axles. Like when you go scale up, like everything just works out good, and you have yourself a good week, and you might have yourself a whole good month. But then, dude, you could literally have a whole month when you're running into just fucking problems after problems after problems, dude. Especially if you slip seat, okay? Now, I don't really recommend getting onto an account where you're slip seating. I don't really recommend local. Honestly, now that I've been doing it, I don't really recommend it unless if you really need to have that work-life balance, like a really good work-life balance, then you have to go local if that's what you want. Or if you got kids. But if you're single like me and you're getting into the trucking industry, to get the most out of the trucking industry, I think, especially up to this point, with the experience that I've had with going local and everything, you should really just be living in the truck. Just live in the truck. You feel me? And if you're going to live in the truck, you really get the best out of both worlds when you're running regional rather than over the road. Because you're in this set location, you could have something like a girlfriend a lot easier, go see your friends and family a lot easier, go do things outside of work a lot easier. I mean, you could do things outside of work on over the road on a 34-hour reset or whatever. And I'm sure every now and then you could take like an extra day off out of state, which is actually pretty cool. That's the cool thing about OTR. Your OTR, you're taking your 34-hour reset somewhere out there in the country. So if your 34-hour reset lands you in Miami, Florida, you can be like, hey, Mr. Boss Man, call up your dispatch, but hey, I'm gonna take an extra day off out here. I'm gonna take an extra 2 days off out here in Miami, right? And especially if you're running like through the week and your customer that you haul for is closed on the weekends, then, you know, if you land in a good spot like Miami, Austin, Texas, I don't know, Las Vegas, right? Somewhere where LA, somewhere where it's like popping, it's like lightweight popping out there, um, then you're good. You got yourself a good little weekend right there. That is a benefit with OTR. And like I said, some, you know, different OTR accounts are better than others, right? In my opinion, a good OTR account would be something like at CR England, they had Pods OTR. It was like a flatbed, and it's like those moving pods where people, you know, they buy these like these boxes, these big ass, like, I don't know, container boxes, and you know, you put it on a flatbed, right? And people use these container boxes to move when they're moving from like out of state. They're moving from like California to Virginia, and you go to whatever yard you're picking up from, and it's like shipping pods. It's literally a box that's called PODS, pods, right? And most of the time that was Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday work. And a lot of the times their customers were closed on the weekends, and you would have like a weekend off and you're running OTR. And every now and then you end up in like fun places like Nashville, Tennessee, wherever, you know what I mean? Miami, Florida, anywhere in Florida, like Tampa, Florida, anywhere like by the beach, right? You end up out there in a cool area and you're running an OTR account, but it's Monday through Friday. I mean, just think of how cool that is. Like, you're out there in the country and you could really explore the United States on the weekends, but you work OTR through the week. That right there would be a good OTR account because it's more structured. You're not just out there running like a chicken with its head cut off, like on just some straight up dry van or reefer account OTR, where, you know, your appointments are all over the place, where it's like really just scattered, where it's just like you're out there just like boom. It's OTR. You don't know what the fuck you're gonna do every week. But if you're on an OTR account that has a lot more structure, because that's what really regional trucking gives you. It gives you a better structure than most OTR jobs. OTR jobs, you're out there running all 48 states like a chicken with its head cut off. On regional, there's more of a structure, right? You stay out a week, you come home the next week. There's a structure right there. You're usually hauling to the same places, to the same shippers and receivers. It's structured, right? And if you're gonna go OTR, I recommend go to an OTR job that has a good structure, right? Because then it's kind of like you're running regional, you know, even though you're OTR, you're getting the best of both worlds. And because you got the weekends off, as long as you land in a good area, like in a city or whatever, hell, even if you're like, how do I say this? So in Barstow, California, right? The truck stops are just outside of the city. So what you could do if you don't have a car, you're not going to have a car because you're OTR. And let's say this is anywhere in the United States, right? Most of the truck stops are outside of the big city. So what you could do is you could either Uber and go grocery shopping, or you could get your groceries delivered to you on Uber Eats or on DoorDash or something. You could literally, you know, type in, you know, pick whatever groceries you want for the week, and a delivery driver will come deliver it to you. Hopefully, if you're not in like some really small rinky-dink town where there's no one delivering food, you know what I mean? But that, in my opinion, that's why I think regional is better than OTR, right? And like I said, a lot of these regional jobs, they're actually local. So you get way more of a work-life balance like that. And you could still live in the truck. You could live in the truck and, you know, at your terminal, you have all the amenities right there. You have laundry, a kitchen, right? Showers, especially like if you're with like a really big company, like one of the mega companies, the mega carriers, I can't even talk, right? You could really utilize everything that there is to utilize over there at the terminal and stack up your money. And you could live like this for like fucking I recommend your whole career. You know, you could live in the truck, be in a set location, close to your friends and family, right? Have a good work-life balance, but like live in the truck though and stack up all your money. And just imagine that. So it's like you live wherever you live, but you're out here balling because you live in the truck. So you got hella money. So just imagine being in your hometown, living in your hometown for free because you're running regional freight out of like in your hometown or like right next to your hometown. Right? Like for me, I live in Modesto, but I'm working out of Stockton now. Right? Stockton is right next to Modesto, right? Well, not right next to it, but it's there, you know. So I could live in this area around my friends and family, you know, but I could live here for free. Unlike them, I don't got to pay the rent. I could live in the truck and stack up all my money. That's what regional gives you that OTR doesn't give you. Regional gives you the option to be home for free and to get paid for it, right? In your own spot, in your truck. Let me read some of these comments and I gotta go. Orientation's gonna start. Alpha male trucking athletes. I ain't no athlete, man. I'm out of shape out here, bro. I done put on some weight. I'm down bad right now. 305. Where the truck stops, I don't count that 595 dump. I run OTRs 2,500 miles plus every week. I never had any issues with any shipper or receiver anywhere I've been in the U.S. I have. I've been at some bad shippers and receivers. Not all the time, but when they're bad, you remember them because it sucks. I get home when I want, no issues and no bullshit, 3 to 4 days at a time. Yeah, but you got to admit, that shit affects your money when you go home. Peace and blessings to you. Yeah, JB Hunt here in Houston, Texas, Intermodal, Regional, come home every weekend. I'm a prison guard and make the same pay, way easier job than being a trucker. I don't know, man. You say that till you get shanked. For the most part, I'm sure it is easier. Especially if you're at a prison that's not really fucking like crazy like that. I run regional, Texas only, having weekends off too. Yes, sir. I'm a union trash hauler here in Los Angeles. What happens when they're bad? When regional's bad? Or are you talking about when the customers are bad? Okay. So when the customers are bad, what happens is just a lot of bullshit. The main thing that happens is you're there damn near all day trying to get loaded, and you go check in and they just keep giving you the runaround and your clock runs out. So this is the absolute worst thing that can happen when you pull into a customer. So you pull into a customer and you're either empty or loaded, and they load or unload you, and they take so long to do it that your clock runs out because you were driving to get there. So your clock is started. It's not going to stop. And your clock runs out. You know, let's say you show up and you got 7.5 hours left on your 11. On your 11, and on your 14, you got 8 hours left. So you pretty much got 8 hours. Let's say they take 7 hours, 15 minutes, right? And the closest truck stop is like an hour or two away, and you don't got time to get there. And outside of that, it's just you got to find somewhere to thug it out in the parking lot and hope you don't get kicked out. Or let's say they take your whole clock to unload you and they kick you off the property and they're like, no, fuck you. You can't do your 10-hour reset here. Get out of here, right? And your manager calls them and tries to plead with them, and they're just, no. They kick you out. You're going to get a violation, right? You're going to have to drive somewhere until you can find somewhere to park, which, matter of fact, I think you could get away with that, right? As long as you note it on your ELD that you had to drive somewhere to find somewhere safe to park, you know? In a situation like that, honestly, your dispatcher would probably just cancel that load, you know, and just get you out of there before you get a violation. And then on top of that, they might have fucked up rules like, oh, no truck drivers allowed in the waiting area, so they don't want you using their bathroom. You have to stay in your truck. Like, dude, some places are just really hostile towards the truck drivers. Like, that's a really bad customer. And then, not to mention, some of the parking might just be extremely fucking tight in there. So it's just like everything about that place is just bad, right? Some of it you might have to like back in from the street. And then when you get there, they have all these rules Like it's like they just don't fucking like you. They just need your trailer to move their shit. And other than that, it's pretty much like, no, fuck you. You're not using our bathroom. You're not using our waiting area. And we're going to take all day. And your clock's going to run out. And we're just going to fuck you over. That's the worst thing that could happen, you know. And it does. It happens. Every now and then, that shit happens. Walmart is regional. It seems perfect for you. Since you're committed to trucking for life, you know it's the best deal for trucking careers. Yeah, but Walmart slip seats. They don't give you an assigned truck. They don't give you an assigned truck, which means I wouldn't be able to do my 34-hour reset on Walmart property. I would have to go find somewhere to live. And I'm trying to live in the truck, so I got to deal with that. Be sure to smash the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel. I got to get going. I got to go pull up. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.